Apex Legends has just been released to fanfare, praise, and popularity, and it bloody well deserves it. Taking the framework for Battle Royale, Respawn Entertainment has ingeniously reworked their engine, netcode, and art direction from their previous work on the fantastic Titanfall series. A storied studio risen from the ashes of hostile business practices from Activision to the ex-studio heads of Call of Duty developer Infinity Ward, the pedigree this team brings with them is almost unmatched in the online shooter space, being responsible for some of the biggest landmark titles in shooter history, such as the industry-defining Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. Ironically, the idea behind Apex Legends isn't too far from Call of Duty Black Ops 4's recently lauded Blackout mode. Take the original foundation for a franchise with years of iteration and history behind it, and retool it to fit around a genre that's exploding in popularity. Similarly, Epic Games' Fortnite previously dominated the space, taking Epic's decades of engine development, netcode work, and game design history with them to retool their co-op shooters framework into a battle royale. Apex Legends, however, is a little bit of a different scenario at heart though. With a unique edge and major diversions from its home franchise, Apex uses the Titanfall name as a backdrop to deliver a developed world and lore into a mostly new property. Usually with an associated brand, that becomes the landing pad to catch interest in the new spin-off property, or what have you. But in Apex Legends' case, it actually seems to be the other way around. In fact, I'd venture to say that Titanfall brand interest as a whole has been pushed far higher than when the actual games were in their announcement to release cycle. See, despite decades of experience and obviously captivating gameplay finesse, Respawn's past works weren't quite recognized as, honestly, the crowning achievements they should be. The first Titanfall game fell victim to a handful of controversies that were brewing around the launch of this console generation. In wake of talks of always online DRM, a game retailing at full price without a single player component was never going to sit well in that climate. Despite the excellent gameplay it offered, the initial addition of a paid season pass for a game that was already pushing its luck at its price point would turn many people off ever investing in the first place. Eventually, all the DLC was made free, but it was too little, too late. So when Titanfall 2 would eventually release, it was slated to come with a campaign and a multiplayer component in tandem, both developed in-house at Respawn, and with all future content to be made available for free to keep the game's community lively and healthy. A corporate especially infamous within this console generation for gatekeeping content and destroying entire games' progression structures to shoehorn in microtransactions and egregious DLC. And to be frank, it was by far the most complete package experience of the current generation, and could even give some of the gems from this 360 era a run for their money, with a fantastic and cheesy campaign that boasted great, individualized boss fights, detailed levels with plenty of exploration, fantastically choreographed fighting arenas, and even a handful of touching moments. Titanfall 2's campaign was already a diamond in the rough for the state of single-player shooters at the time. On top of this, we had a deeply refined version of the first game's multiplayer modes and format that really built upon new features that would be introduced to you in the single player. It was honestly a dream come true as far as a major AAA release goes, so why are people only just now showing an interest after the release of Apex Legends? Well, the answer's simple. EA really didn't seem to care about Respawn's work all that much. On the back of Titanfall 1's failure to rise above public opinions, Titanfall 2 was announced to release with both juggernaut properties Battlefield and Call of Duty releasing new installments on either side, almost as if it was flanked. Obviously the game suffered for being in such close competition with the industry's biggest names at the time, one made all the more baffling by the fact EA owns Battlefield. Effectively they threw their own game onto the bus for no perceivable reason. So why mention this now? Well, with the success of Apex Legends, I can't help but think, EA had this. Everything people are loving about Apex was already something they could have given to people with Titanfall 2. The refined gameplay and movement mechanics, the pretty ethical and conservative approach to monetization compared to other properties, and the appealing art style and world. That's not to say Apex isn't unique in any way, but the heart and core of Respawn's work has been out in the wild for a good while now. But people just never got the chance to be curious, because something familiar was being pushed down their throats on each side of the horizon. So I want you to take this nugget away from you. Give the Titanfall series a chance. Go and get a $5 subscription to Origin Access if you want. Get Titanfall 2, play through the whole campaign, play some multiplayer. Try and repopulate the servers if you can. At least play the campaign on its own. Then we could put the pressure on EA and demand the franchise return, but with respect and with faith. Now that Respawn's property has actually given EA undeniable fiscal results and success, they might actually listen this time. Wouldn't that be something? Thanks so much everyone for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this little take on the currently exploding in popularity Apex Legends. Bear with me guys, I'm just readjusting. I've just moved into a new house and I've got much better internet now, so expect videos, streams more frequently and more often. Thank you for sticking by me through my hiatus. I love y'all. Take Take care.